Come with me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination.
Alright, 214 over here.
You'll begin
Scene 2, shot wood, take 3,
with a
action.
spin.
Review?
Not bad overall. Honestly, I thought it would be a lot worse. But like, if you go in expecting fucking nothing, you're gonna come out with a lot more.
Angela?
Let me light myself. It was fun. I'm glad I had a role in this, and it went pretty smoothly. So Gabby's a good director.
Thank you. Piper?
I don't even go to this school, man. I don't even have this class.
But how did you feel about the day?
I think it came out successful in the end. I'll be honest.
Okay, day 1 filming. This went a lot better than I expected it to, and so I'm happy. It's not the exact vision I had in mind, but I think it's not in a good way, and I like it and like seeing it being real and not just like in my head. Okay, recap the day. How'd you feel?
I don't know, we'll see if my car turns on.
Okay, Isaiah, as our last day of filming, little recap.
Genuinely, I don't know. It went good. I think it went good.
Okay.
I think it went pretty well.
I'm actually really happy. I got a lot of the clips I wanted. The bridge worked out really good. We were gonna think about going to a different bridge, but I'm really happy that we chose this one at the end because it worked out perfectly. And I am really proud of myself for what I have made. So yeah.
If you truly wish to be.
Rian? Hello, my name is Gabrielle Concepcion, and I am the writer, director, and producer of the short film 214, and this is my critical creative reflection. My project uses the conventions of psychological horror with its overall dark atmosphere, dramatic music, and unsettling sound effects. It also represents issues regarding religion, suicide, and mental health. An example of some of the conventions is the lack of explanation throughout the film, which adds to the mystery and engages the audience, leading them to want to know more. More on that later. Though the film does not explicitly discuss the heavy topics I mentioned earlier, the way in which it shows Oliver's clearly declining mental state through sound effects like the ringing at 112 and his facial expressions and emotional shifts all highlight these topics in a more indirect way. During the interaction with the police officer, we see Oliver's emotional shifts after hearing 214, which illustrates the deep and painful effect this phrase has on him, hinting to a possible psychological trauma. The finale of this film is the most prominent as it shows Oliver jumping off a bridge after seeing the time 214. Overall, this film depicts a broken and sad man as he attempts to overcome his battles and uses conventions like the ones I mentioned to display that to the audience. My product engages the audience through the mystery and unsettling nature of it. Audiences are left confused and almost uneasy as they watch a man at the end of his life, as I mentioned earlier. This aspect of the film creates an interesting dynamic, as for the audience, this is their first time seeing this character, so they are left without context of events that are clearly implied earlier. Without this knowledge, audiences are left wondering what caused the events happening in the film, which lead to a more engaging experience, while the audience looks for clues and details of what's happening. My product would be distributed as a feature-length film in theaters and streaming services that would include the rest of Oliver's story and how he got to this point. My production skills developed significantly throughout this project, as I learned many elements of filmmaking, including scripting, storyboarding, casting, directing, and editing. Starting with little to none media experience prior to this, I had to learn as I went along, which led to many roadblocks along the way. From problems with the weather, finding available locations, actors' availability, and the overall timing, I had to figure out the most effective way to handle these issues, which taught me valuable lessons in the processes of filmmaking. There were many changes that had to be made to adapt to new elements and issues while making my film, and a key lesson I learned was accepting these changes and seeing how they turned out to benefit my film in the end. Changing locations I was originally set on for ones more accessible, and even changing the bridge location for the final scene the day of because of unforeseen circumstances, all helped my film for the better, and seeing the end product made me love these changes, and I couldn't imagine my film otherwise. Working with crew members just as new and confused as I was also a hard challenge, but it allowed me to adapt to their skills, and we were all able to grow together. Throughout my project, technology played a huge role in the final cut of my film. The internet allowed me to research many of the locations as well as the topics I discussed in my film. But overall, the biggest role technology had in my film was, of course, editing. I used the software Filmora for my project, and this was one hard task to overcome. Being totally new to editing, I most definitely learned the hard way when it came to this project. Staying up for hours, perfecting every detail to the best of my ability, and figuring out how to use the software to best fit my needs was all part of the process. Having to redo sections of my editing as problems arise was definitely one hard pill to swallow, but it overall helped the final look of my film. Listening to scenes over and over and over again to fix the smallest details only I can hear seemed redundant at the time, but made my film what it is. Changing the song as well as using editing to cut the ending song and clipping it in different sections to better fit my film. Everything mentioned was all part of the process, and pressing the export button for the final time was one of the most satisfying moments, and being able to watch my film finally completed makes it all worth it. So that's all I have time for today, but thank you for following me along on this process, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So, for one final time, that's a wrap.